kind of got you on the edge of your seat now. If you're going to Namibia, you might want to check with your outfitter. I'm not sure you're going to be able to do the leopard hunt with dogs. And I think that's what Barbara was going to tell us about. But again, the good news was in Tanzania, if you had taken an elephant, your ivory is being released and you may have it soon. But go to the Hunt Report with Barbara Crown, and she has all that information on it. She is the source for hunting all over the world. Well, there she is appearing on my shoulder again. Barbara, you there?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. That's the way I'm supposed to hear. Okay, well, I kind of gave a little synopsis on what was taking place in Namibia, but expand upon that a little bit.
Well, what has happened is the Namibian Professional Hunters Association has called a general members meeting in which they did some debating and made some very significant decisions about the future of leopard hunting in Namibia. And basically what it comes down to is this. They have voted heavily in favor to go to the Ministry of Environment and Tourism in Namibia and ask them to suspend immediately all leopard hunts with hounds.
Okay, all right.
Traditional hunts with baits will continue.
Okay, Barbara,
but they want to
Barbara, we're still getting a
Yes.
bad communication from you. It's not oral. You have to really sit still there. For some reason or other, your picture is pixelating, and I'm starting to get emails from people on the computer saying we can't see Barbara. So don't move when you talk.
Okay.
All right, continue.
Basically, your traditional leopard hunts will continue this year, but no leopard hunts with hounds
Okay.
for the rest of 2009 is what NAFA is recommending to the ministry.
Okay.
Also, and this is very important, they are recommending that the ministry not issue any trophy permits for leopards or cheetah for 2010. That means no leopard hunting or cheetah hunting in Namibia for 2010.
Now that's hounds or not? That has nothing to do with the hounds, right?
Well, yes, actually it does. The reason is there, as many of you know, and I reported before, this year was the first year that they completely went through their CITES export quota for leopard 4 months into the year.
Okay.
And that has to do with some of the practices that have been in place in leopard hunting. You could get leopard permits over the counter, I'm told.
Okay.
So a lot of operators were waiting until the last minute when their client got there to get the permits. Well, from what I have been told, the demand for leopard hunting in Namibia has gone so high that this is a natural outcome of that demand. It's a question of supply and demand, and there's not enough supply for all of the demand that there is now to hunt leopards in Namibia. Basically, people have discovered leopard hunting in Namibia, and everybody wants to go there now.
Right. Yeah, well, we do know that there are some big leopards down there, and it could be as a result
Yes.
of the dog hunting that they're beginning to limit that population. That's my guess. What do you think?
Well, what I've been told is that the hound hunting is basically 75 to 80% success rate, whereas the traditional leopard baiting hunts is maybe 20%.
Right.
And anybody that's sat in a leopard blind several times will know what I'm talking about.
Right.
So yes, there is more demand for leopard hunting in Namibia. It's one of the only places in Africa that you can still hunt leopards that way.
Right.
So a lot of people want to do it. Now, the problem is that, again, something that I reported on previously, just a few months ago, there are a lot of reports about unethical activities that surround leopard hunting with hounds. Now, this is not to say that every houndsman or every PH who hunts with hounds is doing something wrong. That is not at all what NAFA is saying. That it's not what its members are saying, and that's not what I'm saying.
Right.
But
I think it has to do with population control, basically. What do you think?
I'm sorry?
Population control. They've overhunted the area, and they need to slow down. What do you think?
Well, it's not necessarily population control, because remember, there are only 250 export permits a year. So they are
Oh, okay.
controlling the number of leopard that are taken by trophy hunters this way. But that said, there has been a situation where some leopards have been taken that are now over the quota.
Okay.
And that's going to have to come out of next year's quota.
Okay.
And that's one of the reasons why NAFA wants to have basically a moratorium on the issuing of any new permits for 2010.
Okay.
Basically,
All right.
what I've been told is they want a year to clear the books, to get everything back in order, to start fresh, and they want to implement some new regulations and monitoring procedures that will ensure the future of leopard hunting in Namibia, that will cut back on these shenanigans that are being reported.
Okay.
Things like hounds continuing over a property line to chase a leopard, and the PH or the houndsman not stopping the hunter and saying, we can't continue because we don't have permission to hunt on that property.
Right.
Things like, I've been told that there are some problems where some leopard permits, or rather leopard skins, have been brought in from neighboring countries to be exported through Namibia. So there's an investigation and an effort in place to put a stop to that.
Mm-hmm.
So they want time for next year to be able to implement all of these new regulations, all of these new stopgaps, so that basically they can get rid of anything that's being done improperly. They can ensure that all leopard hunting and cheetah hunting in Namibia is done legally and ethically,
Okay.
and
Good.
that the future of leopard hunting is secured for Namibia.
Yeah.
So
that's
in the short term, it's uncomfortable, it's inconvenient. If you've got a leopard hunt booked for 2010, call your operator now and
Right.
ask them, what do we do if the Ministry of Environment and Tourism accepts this recommendation? Because it still has to be approved by the ministry. This
Okay.
isn't a done deal, although I have been told that they are very certain that the ministry will agree and accept this recommendation.
Perfect. Give us some good news, Barbara. Now I know there's good news in Tanzania. Give us the good news now.
Well, as you all know, months back I told you that U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service had said that they were not issuing the necessary import documents for U.S. hunters taking ivory in Tanzania. And the reason that they gave us was they just didn't have the time or the staff. Well, John Jackson of Conservation Force immediately got involved and said, by law, you must do this. The season starts January 1st. If you don't start issuing permits on by January 1st, here is my intent to sue you. I'm giving you the 60-day notice that is required by law. Well, it seems they found the time and the staff to make their non-detriment finding for
right.
Tanzania and are now issuing the permits.
Right.
They announced that they would be doing this in late July, so they're only a month late.
Okay, so they can actually go to the hunt report and they can probably get a further information on how to retrieve some of the ivory that they may have taken in Tanzania. Is that yes or no?
All you have to do is apply for the import permit from U.S. Fish and
Okay,
Wildlife.
okay.
They are issuing them now. You should receive it with no problem. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me.
Okay, you know what? I don't think we appreciate enough what you and John Jackson do. Honestly, these things wouldn't happen if it wasn't for the big stick, excuse me, that you and John wield whenever problems arise domestically or internationally. And I, like many of the people who I'm getting emails from as we speak, are saying, thank you very much, Barbara. And we got to get John on the show, okay? Let's see if we can't work this out somehow. Let's get John on the show.
We'll have to do that.
All
And
right.
it's a pleasure to be able to serve the hunting industry. As we say here at the Hunting Report, we serve the hunter who travels, and
Yeah.
this is what we do.
That's exactly what you do. Thank you very much, Barbara.